Is.
All right.
Hello.
Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to
Yay.
our 5 o'clock,
Everyone.
2 to 3, or 1 to 3 focus activity. I
Yes,
think,
everyone is welcome.
yeah, these guys probably know me quite well by now because I have been teaching a lot of levels 1 to 3, especially with Sean. We've been doing a lot of them. So you probably
Oh, yeah.
know who we are by now. It's also been what eight or 9 weeks now that we've been doing these webinars. But
Gosh,
yeah, it's been a
such a
long
long
time.
time. Where is the time going?
That's the crazy thing is, right? Because it has been such a long time, but then when you look back, it doesn't feel at all like it's been already, pretty much 2 months, almost 2 months since everything started.
Hmm. Yes, it's true. Very strange time. So I can see some people are joining us. Introduce yourselves. Um, Guys, let us know your names, where you are, how you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hi, Tonio. Ooh,
Um,
Tonio, actually, I don't think we've ever
okay.
had a lesson together before. I don't remember your name.
No,
Oh,
I
Ellen,
don't
I
think so
remember
either.
Elena. Cool.
Hello. Yes,
Yes,
okay, so I'm Jadene. I'm from London, but I live in Milan.
exactly. And I'm Thiago. I work with Jadene here in Milan. We work in the Central School, the Centro Maies here in Milan. I am 29. I am from Brazil originally, but I grew up in California. And I have been a teacher at my English school since 2016.
Wow. In Milan the whole time, or were
In
you in a
Milan the whole
different
time, yeah.
school?
Yeah, before coming to Milan, I was a teacher, but I was a teacher at a public school outside Milan in Crema.
Ah,
And then I started at Maies in 2016.
okay. Cool. So Tonio says he has a very elementary level. So your
Okay.
level.
Yeah, this is it.
But
Yeah,
that's
perfect
fine.
place.
Exactly. And Elena is from a place near Bologna.
Wonderful.
So
Elena,
great.
Bologna is my favorite city in Italy. I really like it. I was a student
Oh,
in
why?
Bologna some years ago. That was the first place in Italy where I lived for a long time. And it's a very big student city, especially. So maybe that's why I had such an amazing experience. But yeah, all my
Cool.
memories from my time in Bologna are very, very positive. And it's also, Bologna is considered the food capital of Italy. So you can imagine
Really?
how, yeah, the standards, it's just amazing. Very, very good food all around.
Ah, I didn't know that. So Tonio says, "My name's Tonio. I'm from in Sardinia." Very nice. Just don't forget, Tonio, when we talk about ourselves, sometimes we use the verb to be. So, my name is Tonio. I am from Sardinia. Like, my name is Jadene, and I am from London. Good. Perfect.
Exactly.
So it's nice that you were telling us about Bologna, Thiago, because today we are talking all about food.
Hmm.
I like food. Do you like food?
Oh, I love food. Really like food. In fact, one good word we can teach you guys is a foodie. And that is a
Okay.
foodie is a person who is very enthusiastic about food. It's almost like food is your hobby in a certain way. You love trying new things. You're very curious. You like to cook. Well, Not necessarily always, but usually I think foodies also enjoy the process of cooking. And I believe in Bologna they even have an amusement park now that is food themed. So it's really I still haven't visited, but I've
Wow. Oh, man. I
yeah.
should go. So Elena says Bologna is a university city. So I know you wrote an because usually we do an plus vowel sounds. So vowels are the vocal sounds like A, E, I, O, U, these letters, A, E. But university has a very closed sound, and it doesn't really sound like the vowel so it's an exception, a university, because it's all about the sound, whether the sound is very vocal or not.
Exactly.
And we have Alfredo, who comes from Rome. Lovely, I love Rome. Okay, Antonio, we still no, it's okay. You don't need to apologize, but we still need the word from, because I am can mean many things. I am a woman. I am 25. I am a foodie. So we
Exactly.
still need, but I am not Sardinia. Sardinia is an island, and I am not an island.
Exactly.
But
But you
you
can use
can
the
live on
adjective.
an island. You can come from an island. So we say, I am from.
Yeah, or as you can
It's
see on
like,
the screen there, you can also use the adjective. I am Sardinian, like I am from
it's true.
Italy, or I am Italian. Okay, so you do have the two options that we can use. Yes, Elena, that is the name. Yeah, it's called Fico. That's the name of the amusement park, Jadine, that I was telling you about.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
it's by. Have you ever been to Italy here in Milan?
Um, I know, but I know there are Italy's in Milan. Yes,
Yeah, and so
there's one near.
it's by Italy.
Ah, okay, cool, cool, good to know. Okay, so in this focus activity, we are looking at adverbs of frequency. So an adverb is a word to describe a vowel, oh, sorry, not a vowel, an adjective or a different verb. And frequency is all about how often you do something or how many times you do something in a time period. So, for example, I go to the supermarket once a week. So, one day in a week, I go to the supermarket. This is the adverb of, well, no, it's not an adverb, but this is frequency.
Exactly. I can
We're
say
also
that
looking,
during this period, I never take the metro. That's another type of frequency.
yeah, so 0 times is also
Mm-hmm.
frequency. It's all
Yeah.
about how often. We're also looking at vocabulary related to food and talking about habits. So, what is a habit, Thiago?
So I would say that a habit is something that you do with a large frequency. So you do something maybe every day, or you do something, yeah, most of the time. It's a sort of habit, large frequency.
Okay. Man, I want to go to Fico now. It sounds great.
Yeah, I still haven't been because it's quite recent. It was not there when I lived there, so I do need to visit it
Oh,
still.
it's cool. Okay, so I know my screen is a bit interesting. Here we go. So, adverbs. Hello, Monica. Welcome. Where are you from? Um, So adverbs of frequency, put the adverbs of frequency in the correct order. So Thiago, would you like to read them?
Sure. So we have the adverbs never, sometimes, usually, often, always, and hardly ever.
Okay. So guys, now what we need you to... Oh, sorry. You
Oh
can
no,
go.
go ahead. I think there's a bit of a delay. No, but go ahead. I was just gonna give some other words, but I can do that after.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, think about which words we would use if you do something 100% of the time. If it's a habit, if it's something that you do really, really regularly, and then think of the words you would use if you don't do something even one time. Elena says, I work in a supermarket. So you should know a lot about food then, Elena.
Yeah.
You are surrounded by food all the time. Monica is from Italy. Where in Italy are you from?
Exactly. And then just to help you guys out, there are also some other adverbs of frequency that are, I think, even more similar to Italian, so it can help you out if you don't know. Usually is one of them. You can say usually, but another possibility is normally. Okay, that one is very similar to Italian. And for hardly ever, personally, I don't say hardly ever too much. I usually say almost never, and I know that this is also something you use in Italian. So if it helps you guys, just remember we have different forms. We have some variation as well.
It's true.
From Cagliari. So Monica is also from Sardinia.
Lovely. So maybe she knows Tonio, but I'm not sure. Sardinia is quite a big island. And hardly ever as well. We can also say rarely. So this is another word for something that we hardly ever do. We say we rarely do it. So put these adverbs in the correct order, where the one you do the most is the first one, number one, and the one you do the least, the one that you don't do, is the last. And Alfredo has given us some of his habits instead. So my habits: in the morning, I stand up always at 7:30. So I think what you mean is that you get up or you wake up. So to get up or to wake up is in the morning, your alarm goes off and then you get out of bed and you are awake. But to stand up is to physically be on your feet like this. So not exactly the same. And Thiago has also put that we put the adverb before the verb. So we don't say stand up or get up always. We say always get up. And that's a very important point.
Exactly. And just there's only one exception to that, that actually one of the students pointed out during a webinar, is that this doesn't apply to verb to be. So it's say, I am always tired in the evening, for example. That was a very good question. I never thought about it. And then
very special.
I had to like think in the moment, and I believe at least that it is related to verb to be.
Okay, so Elena's given us an order. Perfect. Perfect. So from the least, so something you do 0 times, she said never, and then hardly ever, not hardly never. So hardly ever and hardly never are the complete opposite. So you have to be very careful. um, and then we have sometimes, which is about 50% of the time, often and usually, which are things we do regularly, and then always is something that we do all the time. Okay? So this can be literal. For example, I always breathe because I have to stay alive. So I always breathe 100% of the time. Or it can be something that you do so often that you want to say always. For example, and remember that the adverb comes before the verb, we would say, I always play sport. So this is something you do maybe every day because you always play sport. And yes, exactly. So Alfredo has corrected, in the morning, I always get up. Perfect. So there you go. Just for you all to visualize, always is something you do 100% of the time, and never is something you do 0 times. Exactly. So Elena says, I'm sometimes tired. We can wait for a minute. We have no rush. So if you guys want to give us more examples of things you do using these adverbs, that will be amazing. So Elena is sometimes tired. Perfect. Alfredo always gets up at 7:30 in the morning. I often cook. What do I cook? I eat the same thing every day. So I often cook pasta for lunch.
Oh, be careful.
Sometimes
That's
I do
one thing
something
I
different.
did when I first came to Italy. I had so much pasta because it's available everywhere. After 2 years, I could not eat pasta anymore. Like my body just
You
rejected.
don't eat pasta?
I do now. I
No.
do now, but I had to take a really long break because I just didn't want any pasta. Like my body was just like you know because I would eat it every day because it's so it's so good. It's
Just love it.
cheap.
There are so many different shapes.
It's so many different shapes, so
You've
many
got
different
spaghetti,
sauces.
zucchini. I really love I forget what it's called, ragatoni, I think. Like the really like fat ones. I love them.
Yeah, yeah. There's
Okay.
so many.
So Alfredo says, I sometimes go shopping with my wife because, be careful, exactly like Thiago has put, shopping in this sentence is not a verb, it's a noun, it's the name of the activity that you are doing. Like if you say, I sometimes football, football is the noun of the activity. So we need a verb. I sometimes go shopping. I sometimes play football. But otherwise, really nice. Um, and Elena, I usually cook new recipes. So be careful. Thiago has put the spelling for recipe. Don't worry. But a receipt is when you go shopping and when you pay for the shopping, you are given a paper that has all of the items that you purchased or all of the items that you bought on this paper. This is a receipt. So proof that you have paid for something. And a recipe is a list of ingredients to cook.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite recipe, Thiago? Or have you been doing any new recipes during this
Yes.
period?
So I have been trying to bake quite a bit because I'm not very good. I like to cook, but I am not very good when it requires very specific measures or a very specific temperature. I'm good at improvising more, and so I am making more cakes and things like that, bread. So I've been doing that during the quarantine more. In the beginning, it was a disaster, but now I'm getting a little bit better. I can actually make some decent things at the
I
moment.
I really want to. I don't bake. I never bake. I don't really enjoy it, and I love savory food. So
Mm.
savory is what we call food that is not sweet. It's a bit salty. But we don't say it's salty, but we say it's savory if it's not sweet. But I really want to make cinnamon swirls or cinnamon rolls because I
Ah,
love them.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
But I
actually, I
went
also want to make it. I cannot find cinnamon. I mean, I know at Esselunga they have it, but
I
I don't want to
cannot
deal with the life.
find. I'll go to Esselunga, but I went today and I couldn't find any sugar. I couldn't find any yeast.
Oh
So,
gosh.
Elena, you work in the supermarket. If you guys can tell me where I can buy these ingredients, that would be great
No
because I have a real
sugar, really.
craving. But maybe I didn't know where to look as well. But um, I really want cinnamon rolls. So tell us as well, guys, is there any food right now that you are craving? Any food that you really, really want in this period? And Elena also says, every Friday I prepare pizza and I eat it on
On
Saturday. So we always use the preposition on with specific days or dates. And
yeah,
the
so
specific
maybe
date is like, yeah.
yeah, maybe what Elena does then. So I think maybe on Friday you prepare the pizza dough. You prepare the like the bread part of the pizza, and then you maybe let it rest. Right? You just leave it there so it can grow for the next day, maybe. Because otherwise, if you prepare it on Friday and you can wait until next Saturday, very good for you. I cannot resist. If it's ready, I'm eating it.
But nice. So we can say then that Elena often cooks pizza, or that Elena always eats pizza on Saturday.
Right?
And Alfredo says, when the weather is beautiful, I go. We usually say bike riding, but it's fine. Just be careful of the spelling. I go bike riding or I ride my bicycle. You can say either. It depends if you want to use ride as a verb or as a noun. So I go bike riding. Bike riding is the noun. Or I ride my bike, and ride is the verb, and my bike is the noun. So it's up to you. It's your choice. But nice. I would love to go bike riding. I'm really, really bad at cycling, but I'm going to try this summer to be better. I want to cycle. I'm scared of the road. Okay. So here we have a list of ingredients or things you can buy from the supermarket that Thiago is going to read for us.
Mm-hmm.
And while you listen to his pronunciation, which will be beautiful, try to decide which ingredients are drinks, which ingredients are fruit, which ingredients are vegetables, and which ingredients are something different. And also, Thiago,
Mm-hmm.
would you say drink or would you say drinks? Because this is a problem I have with this slide. I think it should be plural.
I think so as well. I would say drinks. Yeah.
Yeah, so would I. So I just want to correct.
I
It
would,
really bothers
definitely.
me about this. Yeah.
Drinks.
The drinks themselves are not countable, but the word drinks, because you can have a drink, I have a drink, you can have more. We'll get to this after.
Yeah.
Elena says I can use stevia. Is this a yeast?
No, I think
I don't
stevia is
bake,
it's
Elena.
like a natural sweetener. I think that's for the sugar.
For the sugar. Okay, thank you. And Alfredo says, again, I like sweet breakfast. So we usually as well put adjective before the noun in English. It's the opposite to Italian. So always remember, is the opposite. I like sweet breakfast. I like red bicycles. I like high buildings. Okay?
Exactly. So there you go, guys. So just tell us, for drinks, which of the words go under drinks, which under fruit, vegetables, and other. And then in the meantime, I will read the list so you can also focus on the pronunciation. And then I'll ask Jadene if there are any that are different, because I know some of these we pronounce slightly differently. So that way you guys can also be aware of that. So we have eggs, tomatoes, onions, cheese, juice, potatoes, coffee, apples, tea, chocolate, bread, beans, and pasta. I think only one really, right?
Yeah, so the only difference is that I would say tomatoes instead of tomatoes. And maybe as well, I would say pasta with a slightly different A.
Like
But that's just my, pasta instead of pasta. But yeah, it's just my accent. You guys can say it however you like, but just be aware in English. This is the main thing. Your pronunciation doesn't have to sound like me or like Thiago's, but you need to be aware that different English speakers will say words with different accents, but they're the same word.
Yeah, we even have an expression in English when we want to say that, a situation or something, it's the same thing, it doesn't make a big difference. We tend to say tomato, tomato, as in it's all the same in the end. So you can apply this to different situations as an idiom, as an expression, tomato, tomato.
Exactly. I like that. Yes. So Alfredo has started to give us some answers. So eggs are other. Yes, eggs are other. And tomatoes are vegetables. I agree with you. However, officially, I think that tomatoes are fruit. I don't know why. Something about the seeds. But officially, they are fruit. But I would never eat tomatoes in like a fruit salad.
Yeah, because we definitely use them as vegetables. So I think it's the difference between, I guess, maybe unofficial, maybe like scientifically speaking, it's more similar to a fruit.
Something maybe, I thought it was about the seeds, but maybe it's about the way it grows on a vine, and maybe vegetables, I don't know how other vegetables in the ground. Oh wow, Elena,
Oh,
you're
great.
on fire.
Nice.
Loads. So for drinks, she says juice, coffee, tea, and chocolate. Okay.
Maybe if it's hot chocolate, it would be a drink.
Yeah.
Because in Italian, it's funny because it's a cioccolato is chocolate, but then cioccolata is hot chocolates. It's a very similar word.
I didn't know that. Yeah, so we usually say hot chocolate because when you drink it, it's usually hot. Or hot cocoa as well for the drink. Although you could also have chocolate milk, which is the cold version. But chocolate itself, if it's not a drink, then what other category would you put it into? And then vegetables, beans, tomatoes, onions, potatoes, and other pasta. Oh, she's put chocolate again though. So into other
Ah, good.
pasta, chocolate, bread, and cheese. Fantastic. So Thiago, would you just read the new categories just for
Oh, sure, of course.
consolidation?
So we have under drinks, we've got three here. We got juice, and also pay attention to the pronunciation there. We don't really say the I, all right? We say juice. So juice, coffee, and tea. Similar to juice in the pronunciation, we also say fruit. So see, we don't pronounce that I there. So fruit, we have, well, technically speaking, tomatoes and apples. Vegetables, we have onions, potatoes, and beans. And other, we have eggs, cheese, chocolate, bread, and pasta.
Perfect. So just another word that you might be familiar with. Alfredo says coffee and milk is called cappuccino in Italy. Thank you. I do know this one actually. We drink cappuccino. I like them. I like them the most, I think. More than espresso. I like espresso, but I'm not Italian. So espresso is too small.
It's too quick, yeah. I do like the
It's too
taste
fast.
of the espresso, but I like to
Me
enjoy
too.
I like to enjoy my coffee, but
Yeah.
it is very convenient if you have to just quickly drink something. Because I think Italians are also very, very fast at making coffee, and that includes cappuccino. I think in
It's
most
true.
other countries, if you order a cappuccino, you have to sit and wait like 10 minutes, 15 minutes until they bring you
Yeah.
the coffee. Whereas here, a cappuccino is ready in like 2 minutes. You know, it's really impressive to
Yeah.
just watching people do it like so quickly, even make like the art on top. You know.
I miss going to the coffee
Yeah,
shops.
me too.
Ah, I want to leave my house. Okay. But no, I was gonna say before the breakdown, um, is that we have another word to describe milk and cheese and yogurts and other products made from cows. And we call this dairy. Sometimes we just group them all together into dairy. Um, so yes. And we have some other things as well that we can see here in this picture before we move on. So here we have some broccoli, which is very close to the Italian word. So broccoli, some carrots, the orange ones, some grapes. You can have red grapes or green grapes, although I think they call them white, red or white. We have some oil and some wine as well. So just some extra vocab.
Bye, Elena.
Oh,
Thanks
bye,
for
Elena.
participating. Really good contribution.
Yes, it was
Thank you.
lovely to have you. Bye bye. Okay, so now we're going to talk about breakfast. So Alfredo, I think it was Alfredo earlier, has already told us that he likes sweet breakfast. I think, or at least someone did. What kind of breakfast do you like, Thiago?
I like sweet or savory. I don't mind so much, but I prefer savory if I have the time, because I think it usually takes a little more time to make something nice that is savory. Whereas sweet, it's very easy to have, in the picture we see a bowl of cereal, which is usually sweet, or just a piece
Yeah.
of toast with jam, which is also sweet. So I think also in Italy it is more common. So I have more sweet breakfast here, but I also enjoy
It's
like
definitely
something savory.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely more common to have a sweet breakfast in Italy. When you go to the cafes in the morning, there are only sweet
Yeah,
things.
you'd never really find any savory items.
No. Okay. So here there's a small dialogue, and just ways to ask each other questions and some examples of how we could. So we have the option, the possibility to
Hmm.
answer these questions. So, for example, what do you usually eat for breakfast is the question. And usually, if we remember from before, is the adverb that means often, regularly. So, what do you usually eat for breakfast?
I would say for breakfast, I usually eat fruit and yogurt.
Okay. And what do you usually drink for breakfast?
And for breakfast, I usually drink tea. Sometimes I drink juice. I never drink coffee.
Okay. So, why don't you guys try to answer these questions in the comments and think about the adverbs of frequency? So, what do you usually eat or drink for breakfast? And tell us what you never eat or drink for breakfast. And Alfredo says, yes, I prefer sweet breakfast. I am the opposite. I prefer savory breakfast, but I usually eat sweet breakfast.
So, what do you usually eat for breakfast here in Italy?
So usually at the moment in this period, um, I eat some yogurt and some fruit, usually berries and maybe a grapefruit. And I usually drink coffee and a glass of water. But in the UK, I usually have toast or eggs and maybe some avocado, something like
Oh,
this.
that's nice.
And I usually drink tea in the UK, so not coffee.
But you don't feel the
um,
need for
and
coffee to wake up.
no, I drink coffee because I enjoy the taste, and the same with tea. I like the taste, but I don't feel like it helps me to be more awake. Really, I enjoy the experience
Ah.
of it. Yeah. Yes, but maybe it does keep me awake, and I just had no idea. This is why my sleeping pattern is everywhere. um, so Alfredo also says, I drink cappuccino. Try to use the adverbs though, Alfredo. So do you always drink cappuccino or do you sometimes drink cappuccino? And orange juice. Oh, I love orange juice. Um, So orange juice can be fresh. And when it's fresh, we usually say it's with bits. And a bit is just a small amount of something. So the bits in fresh orange juice are just small pieces of orange. And some people hate it with bits. So they need it without bits. And Monica, for breakfast, I sometimes drink tea. Ah, that's nice. That's nice. I hope you eat something as well. Okay, so now we're moving on to lunch and what foods people usually eat for lunch.
Mhm.
So the questions we can ask are what time, so what time, this is different, do you usually eat lunch?
Oh,
Thiago.
sorry. I didn't realize it was a conversation. I usually eat
It's
lunch
okay.
at 1 o'clock.
Okay. And what do you usually eat for lunch?
I always eat pasta for lunch.
Oh, it's me. And who So we're asking about people now. Who do you eat lunch with?
I often eat lunch with my colleagues.
Okay, so again, you guys should try to answer these questions in the comments. And just two things to note. So you can say eat, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or you can also say have breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and it means the same thing. So sometimes you can hear this question, or you can ask the question as what time do you usually have lunch, or what do you usually have for lunch? It means the same thing. The second point is that with the question who, we usually end the question with the word with. So not who do you eat lunch, it's who do you eat lunch with. Is very important to include this preposition. Do you have anything that you want to add, Thiago?
No, I think that's okay. I think we covered pretty much all of it. We do have some answers coming in here. Alfredo has some really nice vocab there. I usually drink some juice and I eat rusk with blueberry. Nice word, rusks. Yeah.
Yeah, rusks are in England, rusks are like baby biscuits.
Yeah.
Just be careful though, because blueberry is just one single blueberry. So if you have more, you have to use the plural. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say,
Exactly.
Thiago?
No, I was gonna ask you, like, so what kind of biscuits are the rusks that you says they're like little?
Oh yeah, they're really they're the kind of biscuit that if you put it in your mouth, it will just dissolve and disappear. So they are biscuits for babies.
Oh, really?
That they can just
Oh,
kind
that's
of
funny that they would
dissolve
dissolve
in
because,
their
like,
mouth.
even just the word itself, like rusk, I think of something so hard and crunchy. I would never think of something
No, it's
that
like
kind
a
of milk.
really yeah, it's like a little lightly flavored biscuits.
Ah,
But they're kind of like, you know, the sweet version of Tirellis. I
yeah.
probably said them wrong. The snacks.
Uh-huh.
There's a sweet version, but I'm not sure what they're called.
Oh, I
But they
see.
look the
Okay.
same, but they have like a really light flavor,
Consistency,
like a
sort
light vanilla or light butter. And rusks are like these.
of.
So Alfredo says, I usually eat at 1:30 p.m. and eat pasta 2. Oh, and I often have lunch with my wife. That's nice.
Great.
That's so nice. Rusk is
Yes,
I don't
Alfredo,
know.
it would be a feta biscottata, definitely, sure. Yeah, for
What
us,
is
I
a
think,
fetta biscottata?
yeah, you just buy it. It's basically toast that is like really, really hard. Um, 'Cause see,
Ah,
we don't
wow.
usually eat them, at least in the States. I haven't seen people eating those with like jam, like it's common here. I see a lot of people putting jam on it. I mean, we call them croutons, and we usually add them to
Ah,
salad.
croutons.
Yeah, but
Croutons.
here
Oh,
they're
I
like
know crouton.
bigger, so they're bigger, like
Okay.
shaped just like
Ah,
toast.
yes, I've seen these. I've seen
Yeah,
these.
so that's the feta biscottata. So rusk, I mean, that's a good word, Alfredo. It definitely works there. It's just that culturally we use them slightly differently, and so I think croutons is a good one. But the croutons are very, very small, and we usually add them to salads.
But I don't think that we have the kind of prepared hard bread like that. At least in the UK,
Mm,
we don't.
yeah, or it's
We
like
would have to make it. You would have to, yeah. Um. Okay. So I'm looking now at this slide that says eating habits. Yeah, I like toast. It is like toast. Yeah.
Mhm.
But rusks are a bit different to toast. Actually, rusks are a brand. They are a brand um in the UK. So maybe it's better to just say toast. Um So for this final slide, and we can kind of just do a summary. Maybe no, we'll do the next slide actually. So just in conclusion for the questions, we can ask people, what do you usually eat for, or what do you usually have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And you can change the adverb as well. You can use different adverbs. You can say, what do you always have for breakfast? What do you sometimes have for breakfast? It's up to you. You can also ask, when do you usually eat or have breakfast, lunch, or dinner? And you can also ask, who do you eat with? Who do you drink with? Okay, but remember, we have to end the question with the word with. And yes, toast is fine. Yeah, is there anything you want to say, Thiago?
No, I think that's okay. So yeah, if you guys could maybe give us some final examples, and if you can incorporate, of course, the adverbs of frequency for final practice, that's great. We only have a couple minutes left here, so we're almost done. But let us know if you have any questions as well.
Yeah, definitely. If you have questions, ask. If you don't have questions, then you can do this final slide. So it says speculate, and speculate is to guess. So if you want to guess, I probably spelled this wrong, but if you want to guess what someone is eating or drinking, thank you. Then you just start with I think. Okay, so I think. And then the rest of the sentence is the same, but the verb, the main verb, changes. So instead of eat, we say eats. And instead of drink, we say drinks. So just be careful. For example, in picture A, I think that he usually drinks cola. And in picture B, I think she usually eats salad. Okay, so you can have a try if you want to talk about a different person and their eating habits.
Yeah, I guess we can give you guys some examples here before we finish up, so then you can at least like hear it. So for example, so the first one, so from the picture at least, I think that he often eats fast food. He always drinks soda with his lunch and dinner, and he hardly ever eats a salad.
Ah, that was good. Hardly ever or rarely eats salad. Perfect. Yeah. So while we'll wait just one last minute to see if you have any questions or anything. A really quick summary of today's webinar. So we looked at the different adverbs of frequency, things that we do all the time, we say always, and things that we don't ever do, we say never. Then we looked at some different vocabulary about food and drinks, and we also included the word dairy. So dairy is for cow products. And then we looked at different questions we can ask people about their eating habits. So what do you usually eat or have? When do you usually eat or have? And who do you usually eat or have something with? And you can change the adverbs of frequency to whichever adverbs you like. And finally, we just mentioned, although we didn't really practice, If we're talking about he or she, so the third person singular, the sentence is the same, but we conjugate the main verb eat or drink differently. We say eats or drinks. Okay. If there's anything I missed.
That's it. No, I think that's great. In fact, thank you guys also for the really good participation. There were lots of examples, good
Definitely.
questions. So really, really nicely done. And remember that you can always practice these at home a little bit as well. Even talk to yourself a bit about your habits. I mean, today we talked a lot about food, but you can also talk about any other activity. So think about your life during the quarantine. Before the quarantine, how does it compare? So that way you can just form sentences in your own head and get more comfortable with these expressions. All right.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. Guys,
So
thank you so much. If anyone is sticking around, there will be another webinar in 7 minutes, also with me, but with Michelle as well. So,
great, guys.
bye bye.
So thank you, and I'll see you guys soon.